Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. Fans, I'm your host, Mike Spider Slayer. Fans from Comic Book Corner 2.0, welcome back as well. I'm playing it solo just for a little bit. Brant's running a little bit late. Cat's running a little bit late. Everyone will be here very shortly. I had to start it because I stream on my Facebook group page and I did not want to lose that. And I did not want to keep you guys waiting. So, like I said, Tevia, you're asking where everybody is. They're just running late because, they have their jobs to do and their things to do as well. So, I'm holding down the fort until we start. But I just want to give a shout out to the people that are on right now. Right. So, the first thing we have is a Get Key Comic is on. All right. We have the Black Knight who is on the show as of right now. It says hi. Eli, who is also on the show, says hi. We got Jonathan Fife, who says hi. And then we have Slurps Gaming. It says, can't wait. Well, it's finally arrived. So, like I said, guys, everyone will be here. And of course, Tevia is here as well. And
I am here.
then Denny's on here saying, what's up, homie? And then here we go. We have Kat, who just ran in through the door, threw her shit down, and now she's here.
Literally. So here I am.
Yeah.
So I have my sweatshirt right behind me. I am here. Thank you guys for being patient. Are we starting with comics? Are we starting with news? I don't know. I am definitely trying to catch up.
I'm trying to remember what we started with last week. I don't remember what it was.
I think we started with comics last week.
Yeah.
You guys. Oh, my audio's off. It might be the Yeti is not there. Hold on. No, it should be okay. Is my audio okay?
I hear you fine.
Yeah, because like what? Cat's audio.
Maybe because when you came in all staticky at first, but I think now you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I guess let's start with the comics because there weren't any big ones this week, and then Brant could kind of jump into that.
Okay. We can definitely start off with the comics. Let me switch that over then to our big books this week. And
I do think we started with comics last week, but maybe this is the better one for this one. Cat's audio felt static. Well, hopefully it's okay.
Yeah,
now.
That's how it was. And when you first came on, because you were just rushing to get there. So
yeah.
All right. So we're good. So welcome anybody, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to ask, just let us know in the comment section below. And we welcome to the people that are watching so far. So we'll find out what our top 5 is along with these big books. Just to let you guys know, there are spoilers at this point because we're only a couple hours away from the new comic book week. So, all right, let's talk about Batman, Superman, World's Finest. This is issue 1. This one was done by Dan Mora and Mark Waid. So I like this book. I thought it was entertaining. It was kind of a little bit beat to death, like with the, I've been stabbed in the heart. I've been stabbed in the heart. I've been stabbed in the heart. Like they made it a thing to make you know that he was stabbed in the heart a bunch of times in the book. But I love the action. I love the actual, like it felt like an old DC book, if that makes sense. Like it felt like a lighter time, maybe not so dark. It felt like, even though this is a book that wasn't in continuity, it felt like a book that could have been in continuity where these two were friends. And I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I had a fun time with it. The only thing I didn't like was kind of like the flashbacks thing. I thought that was a little, you were like into the book and then all of a sudden it's like, let's ruin the momentum and the pace of the book with the flashbacks.
I honestly didn't enjoy it because of the flashbacks, and I think that was the majority of the book. And I felt like it was so plot driven, and it goes to exactly what you were saying before. It's like it felt like an old school comic, but for me, it didn't feel like an old school comic in a good way. It felt like, this doesn't really feel like character driven. It just really felt like here they're doing this and that, and it didn't give me anything new. We keep talking about how there's so many Batman books, and I felt exactly that. I felt like, here's another Batman book, but what makes this different? that we haven't seen before. We've literally seen this before. I think the one thing that grabbed me was probably Dan Mora's artwork. I thought that was probably the best part.
I could understand that. I mean, like I said, I liked it. It was entertaining. It just like you said, like you're looking at it as it didn't bring me anything new. I'm looking at it as it didn't bring me anything new, but I liked the feel of the book. Like, I don't know. It's just like I feel like DC has changed and so far removed from what it was to what it is today that it just, I don't know. I felt a little lighter, not so dark. And if that makes sense, what I appreciated was like the friendship of, Clark and Superman and how he's looking for Batman for help,
Yeah, definitely see that.
Yeah. So
also, I need to get a charger because my iPad that I always have my my top 5 on is dead. So I'm listening while you talk. So I'm still here. You just won't see my body.
All right. Cool. All right. So let's see. We got John Stout says, I thought it was a really fun book. It felt very Silver Age. Yeah, definitely. JP says, thought on the new issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
We'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get there. And then let's see. Hey, Mike and Kat, I'm really excited for Marvel Comic Talk. Like you talked about, JP, Marvel Unlimited bought 3 a.m. And Bear says, I think that DC should do what Marvel does and do the classic stories with classic creative teams. I like that formula that Marvel has been doing, is bringing back those classic stories with some of the old school writers. So this way it gives both audiences something to read, right? Because in very many ways, you're trying to write for a new audience to get people into comic books, but yet you have that old audience that won't go away, that will always read comics, but they always complain about the new stuff and they hope for the old stuff. So by Marvel doing what they're doing, it kind of helps both sides, there. So it makes a good point there. What's up, Mr. Fowler?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Happy birthday, belated birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Do you feel old now?
I always.
So it's not just now. Just in the general.
Just in general. It's
So Brant's on now. So everybody's on. It's good to have everyone on the show. I went solo for a couple minutes there by myself, and people were worried that you guys weren't there and that I was going to do the show all by myself.
I drove 40 to 50 miles per hour for you guys in a 25, so don't worry. We got here.
That's 40. So, Brant, we just got done talking about Batman Superman World's Finest issue 1. Did you read it?
I did.
Okay. So, what did you think of it? Kat felt like it was something that is not new, not different, something I've read before. I felt like I liked it. I liked the action. I liked how it felt like an old school comic book, something different, than when we get in all this dark and gloomy, Batman stuff. And I appreciated the friendship, but I didn't like the flashbacks. So what do you think about it?
Where did you land?
Yeah. So, I mean, I totally get that. Like, it does feel classic, but at the same time, it's kind of funny that you said that, Kat, because as I was reading, I was like, did I read this already?
Exactly,
it felt like,
right?
Yeah, it felt like something I've read before, and obviously not. But and I mean, the creative team is fantastic on it. But yeah, it's very old hat. It seems like something I've read a dozen times before, and it didn't give me anything new, and that's kind of what I was missing with it. But it was a really well put together book.
Right.
Just nothing fresh.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's, you take it for what it is. Like I said, I'll be continuing it. I mean, we've had a Batman Superman books 1,000 times before. Mm-hmm. So that's why you can honestly sit there and say, Brant says, I've read this before somewhere, but maybe not, so I could totally get that. All right.
We do have a question from Mike Manhattan. Anyone seen the slasher movie X from A24? Was going to go see it tomorrow, but one of my friends says a midterm, so we can't see it until next week. But it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I am
This is a movie
very
in the movie
excited.
theaters?
Yeah, in the movie theaters. It's
All
with
right.
Jenna Ortega. She's in every movie coming out now, and I really like her a lot. So I'm like, Jenna Ortega, I'm going to go see it. So yes, I want to see it, but I have not seen it yet. It just came out like Friday, so it hasn't been in the theaters for long.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It looks cool.
All right. So let's see. Let's talk about a book that all three of us actually read, which is, it's kind of surprising that Brant actually read this, because sometimes he's kind of sketchy about, horror books, supposed horror books. And this is Slumber. This is issue 1. This is the new book done by Image Comics, where we have a dream detective or a nightmare detective, where this person enters in people's dreams and eliminates the threat in their dreams. Very cool concept, but I'm on the fence about this. I might give issue 2 a try. By the time I got to the end of it, I was kind of like, this is weird. I don't know if I like the tone of it. It just, I don't know. I was expecting something different from this, maybe a little bit more horrific. And I don't know. I just didn't push all the right buttons for me or check off all the boxes.
Definitely an agreement on that. I thought it was a really well put together book. Like, I'm like, this is a good comic. It's not a comic for me. I think that was just the best way for me to say it. I just, I love the idea of dreams, and I felt like I was in a dream, and like, oh, that's really cool and creative, but I didn't really care about the characters.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm landing too, and I guess we're kind of all in agreement here. It was a fine book, and it was an interesting story, and I like also the idea of traveling through dreams and like killing the nightmares and that kind of thing. But I think it might have been better served if it were characters that we knew, or there was just something missing that didn't put it over the edge for me. So. Yeah,
I felt like maybe the artwork could have been a little bit different. But I think where I lost it was like the supposed antagonist of this book, where it ruined the main character's life and like it possesses other people. I think I just didn't like that aspect of it. I liked learning about the main character on, how people hire her and stuff like that, and her actually taking out the dreams, which is actually kind of comical in many ways, especially in that opening scene. But then as soon as they got to like the main point of it, I was like, I'm not digging that part of it,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess that's a little bit of a disappointment, because I had kind of high hopes for that book, right?
Right.
All right. So next book we're going to talk about is a book that, of course, Kat would never read. And this is Carnage. This is issue 1.
Yeah, no, I wasn't reading that one.
This book I really enjoyed. The only problem with this book was that it had extra pages and it had 2 miscellaneous stories that you didn't really need, right? Where you could have added on to the main story. But this book was absolutely, I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. It was like a murder mystery. You got this guy that's killing people and he leaves his stamp, and the detective is trying to figure out who killed everybody. And this guy that's killing everyone, his dad was a mortician, and he wants to be the next host for Carnage. Carnage comes knocking on his door, and he kind of takes this guy by his side, and he says, I don't need a host, because I'm stealing the Hydro Man's water molecules to keep me going. And I thought that was just a very interesting concept. And he's like, but do you want to see what I'm going to do next? Maybe I could have you tag along. I thought it was a very interesting story. I love the artwork. It had the horror tone to it, and I'm on board for the second issue.
Yeah, it surprised me too. I liked it a lot better than I thought I would, especially because when we read before, this was like the lead in to this was the backup story of that one book.
Yeah,
and you and I talked about how we liked the other story better.
Right.
So I was really hesitant about this one, And but yeah, it went a different direction than I expected it to, and I thought it was really good. And I like the whole serial killer angle to it as well. So I'll continue it for now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the closest thing to Cletus Cassidy, and that guy's like trying to be like him. And then
Yeah,
Carnage is like, yeah, well, I don't know if I need Cletus anymore,
right.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah, but I agree. Those backup stories didn't need them.
Yeah,
Didn't want them.
exactly. Just add to
Yeah,
the main story. I was
yeah.
definitely disappointed by that. So we got a few comments on here. Yeah, and I saw Sweet Exorcist saying, "What's up, everyone? Mike, it looks like you're doing some hard work on that comic room organizing. My gosh, what very tedious work. This is, I'm saying,
worse.
organizing for the past, I think I started recollecting in 2008. So this is the first time that I'm really reorganizing my collection since 2008, plus deciding what I'm trying to sell and what I'm trying to keep, and then certain things that might have a little bit more value, deciding on price range. So it's like taking forever. I've gone through like 10, 11 boxes, and I got a total of 36 short boxes. So it's like, and I got to do this all by Saturday. So I'm
Wow. Yeah,
I'm like trying to
that's a
push
lot.
it really hard. I am almost done. I think I got about 30 comics left at DC to go through. I'm done with all of DC. And then I have to go through Marvel. That's going to be harder because I'm more attached to the Marvel books than I am with the DC books.
Right.
So that's tough, man. Let's see what other comments we got. Let's see. Now Ram V is doing both Carnage and Venom. You know what though? After first impression, Carnage is a lot better. Just after that first issue, I love it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Did you guys get this by chance? Did you read the Hero JLA? I have it in it.
It's hard to get it. Yeah, the newer one. For my store, we had to like pay the Heroes Initiative thing. The organization. Like give $5 to organization. You have a raffle to try to get the one copy because it's so limited. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I have those
the original
books. Yeah, I have the original.
I have the original as well. Yeah.
So I bought them at my shop not too long ago, before obviously all the the bad news and whatnot. So I thought it was just a cool book to have. All right, so let's dive into our number 5. Brant, we'll kick it off with you since you weren't here last week. So what was your number 5?
Yeah, so I just finished reading, so I don't know if my rankings are right, but I'm going to go with the Crimson Cage, number 4, penultimate issue of the series. It's been losing me a little bit. It's not as good as that first issue or two, but I still found it interesting, kind of the direction it took and the lengths he's going to keep his fame, his glory, his title at the risk of now possibly killing families instead of just fellow wrestlers and stuff. And I also like the wife's or girlfriend's rise to power, and it's like it's starting to become her story more than his. I thought that was an interesting twist. So
that's cool. My store stopped getting it for some reason, and I missed out on issue 2. So I couldn't get it anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, I guess that's that. you
Yeah.
know. So
if it ends really well, I'll let you know, and maybe you get to trade later.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, because I love that first issue.
Yeah, the first issue is really good. It just I don't know, the middle kind of got iffy for me. So we'll see how it ends.
Right. Tevia says, any opinion on the up and coming Obi-Wan show? I know we talked about it last week, Tevia. But Brant
was not here.
Yeah. So what did you think of the trailer? Did you watch the trailer?
I think I did. It's hard to remember.
Ask Brant about trailers.
I know.
I'm not a good question.
I'm terrible. I'm excited for the show just by and large. I believe that Lisa and I watched it because I remember her asking me when is it set, and I was like looking it up halfway through the trailer, so I don't think I paid that much attention to it.
Right.
But yeah, no, and it's a Star Wars show, and I've enjoyed them all so far, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely, I am too. This is what I said this last week. This is what people wanted when Revenge of the Sith came out. So
Yeah.
this is going to be that show. So
Right.
It's going to be cool, man.
Yeah.
All right. So, Kat, what's your number 5 this week?
Mine, because I only had 8 books, was the World's Finest issue.
Gotcha. All right. And mine was
tomorrow. I only have 7 books.
Do you?
I'm
I think I
shocked.
have the same amount this week as I
Yes.
do last week, which is a blessing in disguise because
Oh, for sure. Just catch up.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I am so tired. I spent 5 hours straight going through those comic books, and by the time I got done with it, I was like, I don't want to look at another comic or a box or anything. It's so crazy. But my number 5 is Life Zero issue 2. I enjoy this book, man. I think it's pretty badass. It's just like you wind up getting to see the motive of why I told you guys last time that these people are breaking out their captain who was in prison and whatnot during this zombie apocalypse that has happened. And this apocalypse has happened because of this chemical cloud that's gone over the city and people have been infected. So the strike force breaks out their team and it breaks out their captain. The whole reason why they broke out the captain is because the ex-wife, the captain and the ex-wife, they were together and they're going out to go find their daughter who belonged to the social worker or somewhere because they got a messy divorce and everything else, and no one has custody of the kid. And now their whole mission is to find this daughter in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. Great action. Reminds me of Walking Dead in very many ways. And by the time you get to the end of it, one of their own winds up getting bit and turns into a zombie. Dude shoots the guy in the face. And he's like, we got to move on. I was like, yeah, man, this is freaking cool. Just read it before, but you know what? I loved it. It was cool.
I've not read it, but I've heard
I haven't
definitely
either.
things about it. Yeah, no, I've heard good things and I've seen it around.
Yeah,
Sorry, not remake.
again, Chiquetto does the artwork on there, so it's good stuff. What does Serenity say here? It's a pretty big comment. So I did my assignment. Well-written book, interesting direction they're going. It has the hand and
Aries? Oh, is it which? Oh, this for the Punisher. This
That's the
book.
Punisher book. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hon, did you enjoyed it then? Okay, so that's good.
I actually enjoyed it too.
Okay, yeah. What did you think of the Punisher? Because you weren't here.
It surprised me. Again, it's one of these that I didn't have a whole lot of hopes for. So when I read it, I didn't have any expectations. I went into it and I really enjoyed it. I thought it made sense for his character to go that direction, the way that they explained it in the story. And the art was really nice. It felt like a quick read, which is always a good thing for me, like unless it's like really sparse. But if it's like got a lot of backstory and stuff and it's a quick read, it means I'm enjoying it, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm right there.
We all enjoyed it.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I thought, again, it was a surprise. Punisher did not go soft. You can see there's a motive there on what he did. Does it hold up? Who knows? Or how long, right? But that was a pretty violent book, especially for a Marvel comic too, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next issue. Oh, man. Oh, Kat, you didn't even read it.
I didn't have a chance. Wonder Woman I did not read. I thought you were talking about the other book, but I actually did want to read. I skipped the Trials of Amazons.
I got halfway through it, and then I skimmed the rest of it. I'm like, oh, this was the big reveal? Who gives a shit? Because she's not needed anymore. She stepped down from being queen, right? She went to the Justice League. And she winds up coming back in this issue and she says to Nubia, you keep the crown. I don't want to be the queen anymore. So by the time we get to the end of the book, she winds up getting murdered. So it's like, what's the significance of it? She's dead.
Yeah.
She doesn't mean anything. She's no longer queen. So it's like, who gives a shit? And it's just like you were building up Nubia the whole time anyway. And this is why she stepped down being queen anyway from the start and joined the Justice League, because you knew you were going to kill her off in this event. So
Yeah.
now it all makes sense why she went to the Justice League and stepped down as queen, so they could kill her off.
Yeah. So in Wonder Woman, I assume that's what we're talking about. I did finish it. So I'm so bored with this event so far. The only thing and we'll talk about that later, but I'm looking forward to Wonder Girl. But
yeah, I'm gonna pick that up. I'm gonna pick up Wonder Girl because it's a continuation. I'm guessing of the the series we've been enjoying.
Yeah, Joelle's still doing it, so I mean it's gonna be gorgeous if nothing else. But yeah, so my question, like with Diana with Wonder Woman, she inserts herself into this trial by the end of this issue, but to represent all Amazons instead of one tribe. So now you got 4 competitors, and I'm just thinking, well, if Diana wins, does that mean she has to stay at the door forever now? Like, how's that going to play out for her character? She's going to be stuck off panel at a door, guarding this door.
I think you're making it. I think you're thinking too much about it. I don't even think they're going to do. I don't think nothing's going to even happen with it all.
Maybe. Yeah. It's just, it seems silly to put her in it, is all I'm saying. And Donna Troy's in it too. And it's like, yeah, and Yara Flor. So all 3 of these, one of them's going to win and be at the door forever, and we're never going to see them again. That makes no sense.
That would suck.
Very possible. Yeah, very possible.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I did not read this just because I've been out of this series for a while. Stillwater, The Escape, issue 1. So is this it for Stillwater now?
No.
So this is an anthology issue.
Oh, okay. I thought this was it.
I thought it was it too, but not. And for some reason, my camera just went wonky. But no, I was looking at solicits for, I think it's May. Stillwater issue, whatever it is, 13 comes out. So yeah, it's continuing on. No, this was they were sitting around a campfire telling stories of people that supposedly escaped the town. That's all it was.
See, I liked it though. I liked the idea.
Okay.
Like I wasn't expecting anything because once I found out it was an anthology, I was like, oh, whatever. But I enjoyed every single story. I was like, this is the way you do an anthology. I like the idea of figuring out who was leaving the town. The artwork was consistent. I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed this one.
It's just because I thought, like,
it was the end.
Yeah, this was the end, and we were going to get some conclusion, some resolution here, and it was just that, and it was so that disappointed me. I mean, it was well done, it made sense, and all that, but you don't know if any of the stories were real. And so
I kind of like that idea too. I like the idea. It was like, oh, who knows because of the narrator, but I enjoy all 3 stories. Is like, oh, that was fun. I enjoyed each one, and that doesn't always happen with anthologies.
Yeah.
All right. I just finished the first volume of Stillwater. It's pretty good. Yeah, I liked it too. I just somehow I fell off of it or missed an issue or 2, and I was like, shit, I fell behind, and now that's another one eventually I'm gonna have to catch up on too. Hey, that's okay, Parker Luck. You're absolutely fine for being late. Better late than never, right?
I was late too.
You can always watch both shows. Exactly.
Yeah,
Brant was late to his own show.
Both late. I was the only one on time, so it's okay.
Sometimes we're late.
Yes, it happens. All right, so let's move on to.
So this is the one I was talking about. I didn't have time to read it.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
It's the last thing I read, and I was like cramming it down, but right before I got on here.
Okay,
and usually, like when Mike recommends something, I really do try to read it. And this week was just like, oh my God, it's already Tuesday. It's already 10 o'clock. No.
Yeah.
So last week, Kat and I were both like, no way. There's no way I'm going to read Reckoning War Trial of the Watcher issue 1. Right? We're like, who gives a shit? It's going to be this boring ass trial, and it's going to be this blah 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 story, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to buy it, but it wound up being in my box because I put it on my FOC for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it was a light week. And I was like, let me just put it on there, I guess. So it was in my box, and I'm like, look what I got. Trial of the Watcher. So I was in bed Sunday morning doing my Sunday morning reading, and I really enjoyed this book. This felt like a Fantastic Four book because, and it was a what if book at the same time. And the Watcher is the one that's always behind the what if books, right? So all the other people gave him tough shit about you've interfered when you're not supposed to during these what if, universes. Like, you like to dabble in this. So they stick him in this chair and they force him to watch the time when Galactus first came onto the scene. And it was the Watcher who interfered with the whole situation by getting Silver Surfer, the Ultimate Nullifier, to stop Galactus from eating the planet. Well, after letting the Watcher watch this whole thing of what would have happened if he didn't interfere, the Fantastic Four would have prevailed anyway. So they just punished him by watching these things over and over, because if he didn't interfere, the Earth would have been a thriving planet more than it is today, instead of just being all turmoil and chaos all the time.
Yeah, so Reed created his own ultimate nullifying ray and
Right.
figured out ways to engineer it to like create irrigation solutions and all this different stuff that it would have been a better place. So it was an interesting story, and it felt like you said, a classic Fantastic Four story, because we basically got to read an issue of Fantastic Four when Galactus and Silver Surfer first showed up. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So I think Dan Slott did a really good job of this. Just completely different from the Reckoning War, and the art felt a little bit different. Like, it felt like it was from the 60s or 70s. Even the tones, the colors, the way they spoke, just the action. It was a lot of fun, man. It really surprised me. It really, really did.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, Kat, if you actually had the time to read this, I think you would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I really wish that I kept it on my pull list. You just never know with those things when they come out, because the last 2 issues have been so disappointing, and I'm sure the next issue of Fantastic Four will still be disappointing.
All right, let's move on now to our number 4. Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Rain, I believe, but let me double check. It was Rain issue 3. I still don't think it's been as strong as issue 1, but I do like kind of this Walking Dead vibe of the book, where we get to see these kind of people that wouldn't be together and going on a exodus, and we get to see a pretty interesting cliffhanger with our main character being held hostage pretty much to ride this tractor and separated with her people already. It's only issue 3 and she's already separated by her people. So, I think it upped the ante a little bit with this one, and I'm enjoying the ride. I like this book. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
Yeah. I was just going to say, now instead of going to Denver, she's got to go to Canada.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In a tractor.
Yeah, in a tractor.
I thought it was okay. I liked it. I just feel like, though, there's too much of nothing going on. It's just a lot. There's just a lot of talking, talk, and not enough. It just feels like, okay, we're traveling to other places, but it just doesn't seem that way. I like the little kid with them. I kind of like how they had to, take him along, and she had the MMA guy make a promise to her that if something happens, he's going to take care of him and all that stuff. Like, I like that stuff, but I need something more than just some random guy coming along with spikes on his hands from the rain and just, slicing people up. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like really anything is at stake for me. It's just, I get their mission, but it's just, I'm looking for something a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I think first issue
I definitely get
risen to the occasion from there. What are you gonna say, Brian?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I definitely get the Walking Dead vibes. Like, the rain is this thing. It's the zombies, and it's the interaction with other people that kind of is the whole thing. So I get that, and I enjoy that whole journey, and forming parties, breaking up parties, that whole thing. It feels very Walking Dead. My issue with it is more so the art. I'm not totally into the art style, and it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. For whatever reason, there's a disconnect with me with the art. But
gotcha.
Other than that, I thought it was fine. It's still, I agree, it's not as good as the first issue.
Right. I mean, I feel like, yes, the people are a threat, but they don't have that same threat like the Walking Dead villains had. You know what I'm saying? And then the one time that, it rains, you only saw the rain one time, and right away it's like almost like an afterthought already. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem like it's this big deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I feel like it's just missing something for me. It's not that I don't like it. I do like it and I still enjoy it, but I just feel like for it to be that like next level book for me, there's just needs to be something more at stake, I feel.
Tyler X, do you think Rain would be a book to spec on?
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell. I think if it's a TV show, it will, and if it doesn't become a TV show, I don't think it'll be a spec show. I mean, a
Yeah.
spec comic.
I think it could be. I think it could be a show. I think if you're done right, for sure. Absolutely.
It's Joe Hill, I think, right? Is Rain?
Yeah. I think
so it's definitely possible.
Yeah. All right. So that was your number 4, right, Kat?
Yes.
And Brant, what's yours?
Mine was actually Reckoning War. So
Okay. And mine was that too. The Fantastic Four Reckoning War thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I
yeah.
thought that was gonna be higher for you, Mike.
The other books that I enjoyed a lot actually. The next 3.
I will say that didn't happen to me this week, but we'll see. I like my top 2. I enjoyed my top 2.
All right, so let's move on to what are we on? Nightwing issue 90. Finally, a friggin' book is back on track, man. I really like this issue. This was the best issue that I read of Nightwing in quite a while, with him teaming up with Wally, and they have to deal with Blockbuster sending out this drone that's blowing up his building, and it's like 1 second on panel you see Nightwing in his place, and then in the next panel you see him at the Flash's place. I love that artwork, that style, and I just love the interaction between the characters. I thought it was an interesting issue. I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to remember what happened by the time we got to the end of it. Oh, Barbara was like locked into the refrigerated meat truck or whatever.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah, and then they got her out, and they come out and they just basically meet up with what's his name, KG Beast,
mm-hmm.
and they're gonna have to fight him. I like this book, man. I thought it was awesome.
I like this issue, but I did not like the art. I thought it was really dark.
Really?
Yeah, because you have all that inking. It wasn't the same artist. I enjoyed it. I don't think I loved this issue, but I enjoyed this issue.
I didn't love it. I mean, but I did really enjoy it, and I think it was a solid read. I think it had a little bit of a slow start. I didn't like the very opening, the first couple of pages with Blockbuster, but once it got past that and it started moving, I liked it more, and especially when you add Wally in there. Even though it's still another like team up issue or whatever, it felt more natural in this issue.
It had to do with the plot, though. It did have to do with the main plot.
It did. It had to do with the main plot. His sister came back into play. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And Wally just seeing it on the news and being like, okay, gotta go, that kind of thing. So it felt, I don't know, it felt right. So yeah, I like the way it all played out, and him sitting on there like, go get my dog, and just stuff like that. Yeah, some nice little moments there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a couple of questions in the comments. Mike Manhattan asks, is Rain an original comic, or is it based on one of Hill's short stories? I don't know if it's based on his short stories, but it's definitely like new reader friendly, and I don't think it's attached to anything in comics. All right, so let's see. There was another question I had here. Parker Luck says, can I ask, did any of you enjoy Dan Slott's Amazing Spider-Man decade run on the title? I only got the anniversary related issues. It was a decade long, so I think that's the answer. There was a lot that weren't great, but I think he did something different. I mean, you have Spider-Verse, you have Spider Island, you have he has a lot of memorable things about his run.
Yeah, big time.
Superior.
Yeah, I Superior. I mean, there's a lot of it, like Kat just said, there's a lot of it that we all enjoyed. I enjoyed. And then there's some things that weren't all that great, like I really wasn't a fan of Parker Industries. Like I really wasn't a fan of all
Mm.
that.
Oh, I did. That was one of the
Yeah,
weakest arcs.
right. I
Yeah,
did not like
that was a
that.
low point.
But there was other moments that I did enjoy, and but and I think a lot of us are in agreement. A lot of it, if you look back on it now, like Superior Spider-Man was his best work. I felt for Spider-Man, like I felt like that was his
I still
initial
like Spider
story.
Island, I think. the
Spider
most
Island was
of it.
good because that
Yeah.
was early on in the run.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
like Spider Island.
You know,
but-
No, you didn't
I
like
thought that was
that?
fun because that was the first time Mary Jane kind of came back. She was back
Yeah.
into the fold with Spider Island.
I just
Big
didn't like the
Time.
whole story. But yeah.
I like Big Time because he actually got like an adult job, and he worked for what was it, Horizon Industries or something like
Mhm.
that. And he got to do experiments as Peter Parker in a lab, created all these different suits, and I felt like him and his identity worked well with that job that he had. Right, it just got him out of the dumps. Besides being just a reporter all the time,
Yeah.
right?
So I looked up Rain, and it is from a novella called Strange Weather.
Oh, interesting.
And supposedly it's only a 5-issue series.
What?
Yeah,
That's
that just blew my
crazy.
mind. If
Yeah,
that's,
no,
if
I don't
that's-
like that.
Yeah, there has not been enough movement if that's the case.
No. If this is ending in 2 issues, I'll be very, very disappointed.
Yeah.
We have a couple other questions here. So, just a comment. Tevia says some people complain Barbara Gordon was fridge. That was the joke. Haha. Like that's literally what Tom Taylor was doing in Nightwing.
Yeah.
Like because she was in a refrigerator. It was a joke. I
Yeah.
like that. I thought that was funny.
And she got herself out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I thought it was like a cool wink.
Yeah.
Tevia, I mean, we've answered this before, but like, did you enjoy Nick Spencer's run more, or Dan Slott's? I will say in the beginning, if you told me the first 10 issues of Nick Spencer's run, I would say Nick Spencer because I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is so good." But then no, overall Dan
Yeah.
Slott because, like we just said, he did so much more than what Nick Spencer
Yep.
did.
Right.
I got a
And
question
then-
here for me.
Yeah, there you go. I was gonna pull that up.
Oh, did it? Oh, here it is. It didn't come up. Here we go. All right, Mike, do you have a favorite video to make? I like your haul and after the pull. I'm going to say after the eons and eons and eons I've been on YouTube, my favorite video to make at this point is my haul videos because I've been doing it straight for 500 and something weeks now, right? And after that, I want to say, honestly, I love doing After the Pull also. That's like one of the newer series I really enjoy because I like expressing my passion towards the stories that I just read. But then I want to say my most anticipated video that I do, just because it's the books that are coming out next week. And I love bringing that information to people to making, decisions on what books to buy. So I really like doing that one too. I think those are probably my top 3.
Makes sense.
All right. Whoops.
Got it.
I went to clear it. Sorry. There we go. All right. So let's continue going forward. You guys have at it. Talk about your Power Rangers. I'll be
about our
part of
Power
the group though
Rangers.
next week.
Are you? Oh, you're gonna read the Godzilla one?
Oh yeah, because I want Godzilla to kick their ass.
I'm excited to see what that's going to be about. I will say it's a different writer, so that hopefully, fingers crossed, it's good. It's Cullen Bunn, so I'm interested to see what that's going to.
Colin Bunn writing a Power Rangers book?
Yeah, he's writing
interesting.
Godzilla and Power Rangers.
That's
But yeah,
gonna
this
be fun.
issue is pretty just like standard. Is them getting
Mhm.
back from this big war, and they're like, okay, what is life going to be now after this? So it was an
Yeah.
okay issue for me because of that.
Yeah, I mean the stuff with the kid was fun, but yeah, it was just kind of there. I thought the art was really nice, but definitely just standard issue.
Oh, we have a super chat here. On Spidey runs, thoughts on JMS's run? I like the first half with JR, with Peter being a married high school teacher and Aunt May know the secret identity. There's parts that are great, and then there's the Gwen stuff. So,
There's the Gwen stuff, there's the other stuff, there's the Yeah.
For me, I haven't read it since I was in high school. I think I read it when I was on like Marvel Unlimited. I think there's a reason why I haven't reread it.
That run was the first time I ever dropped Spider-Man. So
Oh,
Did you
damn.
really?
that's my thoughts on it. Yeah,
Wow.
I did not enjoy those, specifically those two, the Gwen stuff and the other. I hated
Right.
both of those arcs.
I wasn't.
We'll go back.
Whatever, as long as I was collecting comics, I've always read Spider-Man and never have dropped it. When I stopped reading comics, I just stopped reading comics altogether,
Yeah.
But whenever I've read comics or got back in, I always read Amazing Spider-Man, never dropped it at all. So
Yeah.
We also have another question here. Oh, go on.
No, I was just going to reiterate what I said, so it's not even important. So go ahead.
We have another question. Willie says, "How Power Rangers supposed to beat someone as big and strong as Godzilla? They got their
Zords.
robots.
Megazords.
Yeah, they got their Zords.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
man,
it's not
yeah.
just the people. It's gonna beat the robots.
It's going to be a big kaiju fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they already do that. Like a lot of times, like their little villains will become big villains.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. So that's why it
Yeah.
fits. It like fits
Mhm.
the Power Rangers. So
Totally.
it's just got Godzilla. That's all.
I'm anticipating it. We'll talk about it when we get to the most anticipated, but I'm anticipating it.
All right. So let's see. Where are we at now? So we're moving on to number 3. Brant, what's your number 3?
Rain. So we already talked about it.
All right. Cool. Kat?
Mine's Nightwing. We already talked about it.
All right. Mine is World's Finest, and we already talked about that. So let's just keep trucking along over here. And so we're going to talk about
Let's see what we're gonna talk about next.
Yep.
speaking of Spider-Man, Amazing
Speaking of
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
92 Point Beyond.
Are we really talking about Spider-Man though?
Yeah, no, we're not.
He was
We are
barely
talking
in this.
about-
Yeah.
We're talking about Monica, who
Yeah.
I love Monica. I think Monica.
I do too.
Not be in this book. This was such a weird book. I did
Oh
not
my
like
goodness.
this. This
I-
is the most filler I've ever seen Spider-Man be.
And this was the weirdest I've ever seen Machine Man too. It's like I don't know. I was not feeling this.
There was no Spider-Man in this book until what? The last page?
Last
anyway?
page, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was ridiculous. It's like, oh, let's continue to destroy this villain headquarters of the Beyond Corporation. Monica Rambeau is in there, comes across somehow Machine Man.
Mhm.
He hotwires it with his nose. Blows-
he becomes Inspector Gadget all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. Then you got the lizard creature that winds up blowing up because it was sucking Morbius's blood or whatever
Yeah.
it was, and that ended that fight. There was just this book was just
Yeah. The one interesting thing was Morbius teaming up with Lizard to do something weird with their their science.
he came across actually Dr. Connor at the end.
Yeah, but
Oh.
like the whole thing with Monica, it's like she reveals herself to Beyond as like, I want you to see that it's me doing it. And she's like, just one facility. We're fine. It's like, well, you can't use this one anymore. It's like, what was the point of that?
It's so dumb. And
Give
it's just
Monica
got
her
all
own
mad.
book.
Yeah,
Make her show up
for
in
sure.
Captain Marvel.
Oh, and
do
then they're like,
something else
and-
with her.
And I got
Yeah.
the stingers to go after you.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Scared now.
Uh-oh. I mean, gee whiz,
Who wrote
man.
this issue?
And we got one more issue to
I'm not
go.
sure.
It's like,
The 3 people wrote this issue. Yeah, Jed McKay, Cody Ziegler, and Zeb Wells all wrote this issue.
Yeah,
3
maybe
people
they
wrote
wrote the
this
different parts.
issue.
Yeah.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artists on this issue. That
Wow.
is a testament.
that shows you. This was like the book where they were like, "Oh,
Scrambling.
it's a Point Beyond issue. Who wants to write it?"
They should have just not had this issue. They should have just
Yeah.
And
skipped
they're
a
probably
week.
like, "Okay, let's just do this, guys. You write 2 pages. You write 2 pages. You write 2 pages, and you write 2 pages."
We'll get 5 artists. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
They'll all be
yeah.
consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be great, guys. Oh my god, what a waste! If I wasn't a Spider-Man completionist when it came to Amazing, it's the only book that I'm like really anal about when it comes to buying all the books.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind spending the extra $3.99 to get it Beyond because I've been collecting Spider-Man for such a long time. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take like 15 years. So why stop now?
Right, exactly. All right, Thank God. Let's hope next week, not tomorrow. The issue got delayed. It won't come out to the following week.
Yeah.
That we.
Which sucks because there's nothing out tomorrow.
I know, man. It's so rough.
It's late. Yeah.
All right. Well,
And
let's
then
come
the
in-
next week after that is so heavy. I'm like, just
Oh,
stop
I
doing
know.
this. Please stop.
I know. All right. So let's talk about our number 2. So Brent, what's your number 2?
Carnage, which we already talked about.
All right. Kat?
Mine is Refrigerator Full of Heads, issue 5. This is the penultimate issue of this book. And if you like slashers, check this out. It's such a good sequel to a slasher. This is the final girls finally kind of getting to a point where they're going to work together. And I just had a blast with it. There's the villain from the last book becomes a big lizard monster. There's a shark head attached to a car. It's crazy and it's fun.
Is it the shark head that they killed in the first issue?
Yes, here I'll show you.
Still there.
Yeah, this is the last panel. The second final girl is gonna go save the first final girl with a car and a shark head.
It's funny as hell, man. It's awesome. All right. So I guess I gotta go, right? Charming title. My number 2 was Carnage. So
yeah,
that
I like this comment.
What's that?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, it's so true.
DC back, yeah,
except longer.
True. Yeah,
yeah. But the thing is you don't have to buy the point issues at least.
True.
Yeah.
DC
is like issues are only extra $1. This is extra $4. The backup for the backups. The backup is only an extra $1 for DC. So for Marvel, they're an extra $4 when you buy
yeah, but that's a full comic book, and the backup stories are like less than that sometimes.
Yeah.
So
they're about like 10 pages.
It is what it is. I mean, they force you to read that backup story in it because it's just like, oh, here, $5.99. There you go, and you got no choice because you got to read the main story.
Yeah.
You know. Carnage was good. Okay, good. Slurps Gaming said, Mike, do you collect all Spawn series? Right now, I do. However, when it comes to King Spawn, I'm not as into that book. I don't like the artwork in it as much, and I just can't get into the story as much. So I might be actually dropping that one. However, I love Gunslinger. I think it's a phenomenal book. Spawn series, really good, and Scorched is quite interesting too. So those 3 are the ones I'll probably be sticking with. All right, so let's see. We're on to number 1, or do we have more to talk about? Oh, Detective Comics.
I'll go for it. It's all you guys.
What'd you think, Brant?
I'm over this story.
Well, we got one more part left.
I know. I'm so over this story, though. I don't know. This felt a little too easy because it's like, okay, Batman comes back and saves the day, and just like now everything's going to be okay. And it just felt like you demeaned every single other Bat character because they couldn't do anything without Batman swooping in to save the day. So that bugged me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. You know, the one thing that I'll give it that I liked about the ending was that the mayor's wife gets Psycho Pirate's mask.
Yeah, that was interesting. So maybe we're getting a new Psycho Pirate. Yeah.
Right. And so how does that mess with her psyche? Because also in that very last page, you wind up getting to see another month into the future after everything has happened. She's sitting there in the psychiatrist's chair and being asked questions. So that could make an interesting plot point in the future there.
Yeah, for sure. That part I liked. It was just everything before it.
Yeah, leading up to it. Right. Same thing. This book, like I thought, if this book ended at issue 9 or 10, it would have been good. Once the team found out like who was behind everything, that's when it kind of like slipped down for me. I liked them trying to figure out everything. I thought that was fun. And then, of course, like you said, Batman came and saved the day. And of course, Batman had to make his return, So.
Of course. Yeah. And the art wasn't as strong this issue either, I didn't think.
You didn't think so? I thought it was fine. I didn't have an issue with that. So, but we got one more issue and then we're done. So that's it. Then we'll move on to a new story with Detective. Does
Yeah.
that have to do with Shadow of the Bat too?
I
Is that
I
what
don't
we're
think
leading
so.
to?
I think it's just
yeah.
Robin, Deathstroke, and Batman for Shadow of the Bat.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. All right. So let's move on to number one. My number one was Nightwing. So I really
Mine
like that
too.
book. Okay, cool.
Mine was Stillwater, the
Wow.
anthology.
Really?
I liked
Okay.
it. It also was only 4 stars, but I had 8 books. But I enjoyed this one.
Okay.
See, the thing with Nightwing, like I noticed the art difference, but I didn't feel like it was a huge drastic change.
You
I did,
you
yeah,
think?
I did,
It's
I
so
did.
dark.
I noticed the inking. The inking was a
Yeah.
little bit more heavier on the inks, but I don't feel like it changed the tone of the book for me at
I
all.
didn't either. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I again, this was his best team up, and this was
Mhm.
a team up that for me didn't feel like it was forced. It felt more organic because he has an actual relationship with the character. So that's what made it fun for me to read. And
Yeah.
you could see that Wally actually like Brant said, like, oh, there's a fire, I gotta go. Like he cares for his
Oh,
friend.
I love that.
know?
Yeah, and I enjoyed their friendship. I like the ending. I enjoyed the issue. I think it was so far stronger than the Superman story. We'll see how it goes in the next issue. But
Yeah.
I just wish they switched the artists.
So yeah, I think he was just taking a break. All right.
Oh yeah, which is understandable because he did double the effort because he had to do Superman and Nightwing that
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
the 2 parts. He did both of
exactly.
them.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was yours number one? Your number one, Brett?
Nightwing.
Oh, that's right. And
Yeah.
Cat was
Mine was
Stillwater.
Stillwater.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we all went.
Yep.
So
Yes.
those are our comics. So let's move on to some news.
Yeah, there is no Kickstarters going on just yet, so we could just jump into the news. We also don't have a title this week, which we'll get to a title, so we're gonna just talk about the news as it goes along.
But it did seem like though the title didn't really matter because we still have about 40 something people watching. So that's awesome, guys.
Yeah, we
Thank you so
appreciate
much
it.
for
Yeah.
watching.
Thank you.
Yep, give the stream a like. Please let people know that this thing exists, and hopefully you guys enjoyed us talking about these comic books and our top 5 and whatnot. So, and now we're going to talk about news, like Kat said.
Yeah, so we only have 2 media news pieces. First is Irredeemable gets a Netflix movie. I remember when I was like getting into comics more, like weekly. That's when that book came out. I've never read it though. I just know it's popular.
I love the series. I actually have issue 1 signed by Mark Waid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got it signed at a convention at Heroes Con. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's been a long time since I've read it, but I really like the story. It was the twist where the main like Superman character turns bad.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I remember this. I think this was right around the time where I just got back into comics, and I remember this came out or this was already out.
yeah,
When did
it was
this come
around.
out, Brant? Can you look it up real quick?
I think it was like 2008,
Around
2009.
I just looked it up.
Okay, yeah,
2009.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I got back into comics in 2008. So yeah, I remember this came out and I was reading and I'm like, oh, this is good. I like this book, So
Yeah.
it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I remember it being such a hot book on stands when it was coming out. So cool that they're
Yeah.
making a movie 15 years later.
yeah. He did a bunch of like spin-offs from it too. It's like there was Irredeemable, Incorruptible. There was a bunch of titles. I don't remember them all, but yeah.
I liked the video when I first clicked the thumbnail during ads before and even see your faces. Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's
we
awesome.
love all the likes. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So next up we have Sydney Sweeney, who is going to be maybe playing Black Cat. She's been cast in Madam Web. Ironically, today with a couple of my friends, we watched Euphoria, the pilot, which is what she's in. So now I know everything about the actress. No, but I did get to see her in Euphoria, and she was cool. But I've known of the actress. She's in White Lotus as well. She looks very young, and not even look very young. She plays a teenage character in Euphoria, and she plays a teenager in White Lotus. So that's the only thing that makes me think, is it going to be Black Cat? I would love for her to be Black Cat. I think she's cool.
Yeah.
But again, she's very young.
And she was a rich teenager in White Lotus. That's the only thing I've seen her in. I thought she was a fine actress. So, I mean, that could be really interesting to see her as Black Cat.
As soon as I saw the article, I was like, okay, who is it? You know what I'm saying? And I have not watched Euphoria yet.
It's a show. It's really good. The pilot was like, whoa, but it's depressing.
Yeah, that's why I haven't watched it yet. I gotta be in the right.
Yeah. And so obviously I had to look up the actress, and I realized where she played. And then I just was like looking at her just to be like, oh, could she pull off a Felicia? And I think she can. Yeah, she's very young. You know what I'm saying? And I look at Felicia as a little bit more mature, character.
It could be a younger version of her. It could be like her being up and coming.
The actress is actually 24, so she's a little bit older. Yeah.
Okay. I look at Felicia as like in her late 20s, early 30s. That's kind of the way I look at her. But I think 24, 25 would be perfect.
Oh, she was also in Sharp Objects. I watched that as well.
She was. She was the sister. You might have been the sister.
If she was the sister, she was pretty good. I don't remember. Yeah. It's been a while since I watched that.
Zendaya's best acting days Euphoria. Yeah, she's phenomenal. The show is phenomenal. Like if you watch the pilot, it's like, whoa, this is good television. Like I was talking to Phil about it because we watched it together or like eating dinner. And I was like, 5 stars for like the way the pilot is, but 4 out of enjoyment because it's just like, whoa. I don't know if I'd like sit back after a day of work, be like, let me watch Euphoria because this is gonna relax me. There's other comments about that too. So let me see. Keep the kids away when watching.
Yeah, see, yes. I heard about like before like even like all this crazy hype about it. Like I read an article about it, and it's just like, obviously you don't want kids around, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in it. And
it's all about drugs really. So it's like a lot of drug use. It's definitely a lot of nudity. Yeah. It's just everything you probably don't want your kids to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But
as a parent, it's like as a parent watching that show, you're like, yeah, I hope my kids don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I will say it definitely heightens everything. Like we were like, while we were watching it, is like, do high schoolers, like every high schooler does this? It's like, I don't think every single high schooler vapes, and it's just like everyone's vaping during the show. So everything's just very heightened, but it also feels
over exaggerated. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's like kind of what makes the show is that everything's like very sexy and like very, everyone's getting into trouble. So I'm interested to see what happens next with it. But I was like, when I finished it, I was like, I kind of want to see where like all the characters go and like how they grow. Okay. Other comments here. Let's see. I saw some, I think Serenity was given some Dakota Johnson hate. I like Dakota Johnson. So I think she's cool.
Listen, I mean, all as I can say is that I was hoping that Madam Web, Julia Carpenter version was going to be in this movie. I don't think people want to watch an old lady Madam Web sitting on a chair. Right. I think they would want to see a Madam Web that is actually active, young, vibrant, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Julia Carpenter, and Dakota Johnson looks like a Julia Carpenter. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I've seen a few movies with her, and I really like her. And I think she's cute.
What I'm hoping is that Julia Carpenter, hopefully maybe they'll go before she comes Madam Web, maybe she'll be Spider-Woman before that.
I could see like a whole like first 10 minutes, like an Incredibles like type flashback where she's like, this is who she was before she became Madam Web. I think there's a lot of interesting things they could do with it. And I think it's a really cool cast. So I'm actually excited for it, especially if Black Cat's going to show up. The other question I'm going to scroll up was for me and Brant. This is from the Bronze Page. When did you two get into comics? Since all I remember, my dad's read comics to me since I was like 3. So forever.
Yeah. I was like 7 or 8. I think, or maybe, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there when my mom bought me and my cousin our first, 3-pack of comics from a gas station when we were on a camping trip and it was raining and we were stuck inside in the back of the truck with a camper top. So I've been hooked since.
What were those books?
Iron Man with the Wrecking Crew and Spider Woman, Julie Carpenter, actually.
Dude, I totally remember that cover because it's
Yeah,
one of my very first comics as well.
yeah. That's like, yeah, that was, as far as Marvel superheroes and stuff, that was like my introduction. Aside from like Spider-Man's Amazing Friends, but and then like an issue of Archie and an issue of Firestorm. I think were the three.
What's this one called?
Comic. Axe. I want to know if I could buy comics from Mike if I'm out of town and I live in Arkansas.
Oh, right now I don't plan on shipping any comics right now. I have a couple things. I'm having this this garage sale that you know about, obviously, where I'm purging my collection just to make room for new stuff to come. Right? I mean, you can't keep everything, so I'm keeping stuff that's close to me, stuff that means something to me, and then I'm going to try to sell the other stuff. And whatever I don't sell in the garage sale, I think my comic shop said he would actually take a look at it and see if he
Nice.
would be interested in buying some of it. And then I guess maybe whatever else I don't sell, then I'm going to look into maybe possibly putting it maybe on Facebook Marketplace or Mercari or something like that. So just stay tuned for that. I'll make an update when that time comes.
I'm getting there with my comics. I would really like to sell some because, you know, with the comics I'm selling myself for my own comics, it takes a lot of space. So it'd be nice to get the ones that I didn't enjoy as much and maybe someone else will enjoy. Okay, let's get into the next news piece because that was just the media stuff. So I'm going to put these together. We have Chip Zdarsky's Public Domain, which was a Substack book, heading to Image, and then James Tynion's book, The Closet, heading to Image. And honestly, the thing I want to talk about with that is it just kind of proves they are going to go to printed comics. Substack is going to be like the first thing you could get it from, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it somewhere else, which I will definitely want to probably pick up both. I want to read the new James Tynion book and read the new Chip Zdarsky book.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to say about it was the concept for Chip's book sounded really cool.
I was more interested in that one.
Yeah, so it's like this artist that created this character, the domain, and his kids aren't happy with the direction it's going, and this whole thing. So it's like, you know, we're getting into that point where you can really relate to this kind of thing. So it sounded cool. So,
I mean, listen, it just shows that, hey, you don't have to subscribe to all these Substack things, and you know these books are going to eventually come out in print. So as long as you're patient with it, and you'll be able to read it eventually.
We're definitely going to follow that up, but we do have a couple of questions here. Mike Manhattan asked, let's see. Mike Manhattan asked, I just lost it. What age were you guys when Spider-Man came out? So I'm guessing it's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. They were 9. I was in 2nd grade. So
when what Spider-Man came out?
The first Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Oh, so that was 2000, right?
2002.
2002
it was?
Yeah, 2000 was X-Men.
Oh, okay. So 2002. What was that, 20 years ago?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly 20 years ago.
So I was 7 then.
So that makes me as old as what Kat was when that movie came out.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's weird.
That is wild.
Yeah. And I was 2 years younger than that, so there you go.
Yeah. Nothing though. When I first saw that Spider-Man movie, that Tobey Maguire movie, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was the best thing ever, man. I was like, whoa, Spider-Man like that on a big screen. It doesn't hold up as much today, but it still holds a special place in my heart because that
holds
movie,
up.
X-Men movie, like those were the ones that started everything that you got today.
Seems like Patty's project also got into comics in a similar way, which is very cool.
Punisher book at a gas station. Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that had stories like that. Yeah, but go ahead.
For sure. I was going to say we have another comment here, which is from Foam Panels and Columns. How was the deal at all profitable for Substack? They're getting a lot of subscribers to their newsletter. So
yeah,
I think it's been very profitable for them.
Yeah, more users on their platform, more advertising dollars. Who knows? A lot of benefits for them, I'm sure.
Even for the people that don't buy to Substack, there's like, for me, like I'm subscribed to Chip Zdarsky's newsletter. I'm subscribed to Brian Michael Bendis's newsletter. That is still a number for Substack. Even though I'm not giving them money, I'm still subscribed to them. So, and I'm subscribed to at least 5 or 6 of them that I'm not paying for, because it's just a newsletter. Who cares? I got an email and see what's going on with Kelly Thompson, you know?
Yeah, I'm on several of them as well.
Yeah. All right. Tevye was 15 when Spider-Man came out. How much older are you than me? I thought you were only like 2 or 3 years older than me. You must be that's like, you're like 8 years older than me. Is that right math? I'm currently 30. That is not right math, Tevye. No. I'm 27. You're only
20 years ago.
You've
been 10. You've been 10,
you would have been 10, not 15. All right, let's get into our big topic of this week, actually, which was introducing Zest World. This is a new platform that has some bigger names. We have Alex Segarra, who was the co-president of Archie, works for Oni right now, and then Jimmy Palmiotti. But what's interesting about this, what's really interesting is their bad mouthing of Marvel and DC. That was a interesting way to introduce their platform. And then this is just a digital platform. So they want to, create ways for creators to get money, which I think is great. I don't know how to feel that it's only digital, though. Like, again, it was interesting to see that Substack, yes, it starts out as digital, but people could get it physically. I'm interested to see what this model is going to be. They do have bigger names. Again, they have Jimmy and then they have Alex, who are wonderful people, and both have used Kickstarter. So I'm curious to see if, like, other creators are going to join. Like, what is going to be the process of their catalog. I'm very interested to see what that's about.
Yeah, I don't know. Anytime anybody leads with negative on Marvel and DC, it's a strike against them, in my opinion. Because there's no way you're taking down Marvel and DC. Just don't do that.
Especially if it's
like comics.
Especially if it's supposedly going to be digital only.
Yeah,
claim at least right now.
I get the sentiment. I understand that. You're trying to do something different. You're trying to make a splash, so you name drop the 2 big ones. But CrossGen had a lot of money, and they did the same thing. And where's CrossGen? Nowhere. So
exactly.
Don't lead with that.
You have all the big time writers that you want. If you don't do it right, it doesn't matter. People are not going to be interested. You know what I'm saying? The only company that I can say that has done it right so far is AWA. You look at what they have done and what they've managed to do. They've been going strong now. How long has it been now? A couple of years?
2018. I just pulled out one of their magazines, like the first magazine. I was looking through my graphic novels. I was like, whoa, so crazy. It's been like 2018.
Yeah, there's other companies that had big names too, and still do. Aftershock, Boom, but I don't know. I think we have to learn more about what Zest World is actually offering, because it's not really clear here. That it's like, is it a little bit comicsology? Is it a little bit Substack? What is it exactly? I'm not clear. Yeah,
they just claim that they want to give their creators the
Which is
ability to write without being bogged down by editorial. So
you could do that by yourself and make more money because you're not teaming up with anybody. So that's like the weird part. And also, when you limit yourself to digital, you're making less money too, because you're only getting the digital crowd. And yes, it does cost money to print books, but me and Brant could attest, if we only sold digital, we wouldn't make the profits that we do. The way I make the profits that I do is through physical books. So yes, it costs money, but you need to know how to make money when you're spending money. Yeah, so it's just only doing digital. How much can you sell it for? $5, $3? Like, I don't know how you can make money with that unless you're selling it for $20 for digital, and then you're like, why am I spending this money?
Yeah, why am I spending that much money for something that I can't even physically own?
Yeah.
So, We'll see how this world ends up going. I always wish for the best for everything. Because again, look at Substack. We're
Of
not buying
course.
it, but there's a lot of great, awesome things coming out of it. And looking what these creators are able to do and make money off of it, which is really cool. So hope for the best. All right,
Yeah.
moving on to some more digital stuff. So Spider-Verse gets a title for Marvel's digital platform, which, man, if this wasn't digital, I'd probably read it. So I think it's a shame that they're only making it digital. But we've seen it in the past couple, the
It will
Wiccan
come
and
out.
Hulking book.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's going to be
it's gonna
printed.
come out just like they did with the other one that's getting ready to come
Yeah.
out too.
Which
And
I'm
the
going to buy it.
X-Men
I'm going to buy
Green,
Wiccan and Hulking.
the X-Men Green title, same thing. They're all coming out physical anyways. That book will come out as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Manhattan says Brant.
Will print your books.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, there's a lot of printers that. Brant, Todd, and Image did that once they debuted. Called out Marvel and DC? It's a little different. I mean, it was Image, and nothing like that had ever happened before, and they were making a lot of money and selling millions of copies. It's a little bit different.
These guys weren't just like, listen, when you talk about Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, like those guys
They were the biggest,
the biggest A-lister artists ever. And when you look at it in very many ways, what those guys did, they started
indie
a
comics
movement. They started indie comics because at the time DC and Marvel were untouchable. And the only way you could get what we have today was because of those guys that had the balls to walk out of that office and start their own company. And this gave people a way to create their own comic books. So you can thank those people for all these indie creators out there, because that's why maybe in very many ways, Marvel and DC are not as powerful as they once were, because all these great writers, all these great artists, they're able to go to other places and create their own comic books. So they were the first start of that.
On the same token, you can also look at that as the start of the spec market that almost killed the entire industry. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. There was great risk with that, but they bounced back from it, and but it opened up the door for a lot of other people out there, because it's like, if they did it, we can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have Sweet Exis who asks, does anyone think the digital first model is Marvel's way of forcing the spec market, especially if spoilers are revealing if digital releases before physical? I don't think so, because then none of their digital books have big things that happen. They're honestly usually smaller books. Yeah.
It's not like big things happen in them. So
they're just fun stories.
Right.
I think it's their way of doing a Substack, basically. So the people that really want that story right now will pay for it digitally now, and
get a
the
different
rest
audience,
will wait.
Maybe a younger audience.
Right. Absolutely. So
yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the spec market. All right, let's get into the next thing, which is Spider-Man related. There's a new Spider-Man mini series. We're talking about there was not enough Spider-Man. We want something new, and they gave us something not new. Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't think I'm interested.
What is
I love my
even
Spidey.
About? I forgot. I read the article like when you put it up, and I forgot.
All right, let's see. So Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man is, what is reality and what is dream? What is science and what is magic? At the intersection of all of this stands the Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Peter Parker goes to LA, and what he finds there are definitely not angels. The demons waiting for Peter are going to test him like never before. One demon in particular, a very famous one of Marvel and X fans in particular, might just eat Spider-Man alive. He might eat him. I think it's always, I see new names there. I think it's awesome to see different creators tackling Spider-Man. These are opportunities to do it. But I just wish there was a better hook. For me, I don't know if there is a hook there.
I'm going to try the first issue. If I tried Savage Spider-Man, I'm going to try. Right. I'm going to try
this one. I think it depends on the week. If it's like a week like tomorrow, I'll be like, yeah, why not try out this Deadly? Because you never know. It could be really cool. It could be a horror Spider-Man book, and I want it to be that.
That's what I
but it was
wanted
a full
Savage
read.
Spider-Man book to be. I wanted that to be this horror book and not this
No.
whatever it was that we read off of that
I
first
don't know what
issue.
that
Like,
was.
God,
Yeah,
that was
You
rough.
will
I
see.
don't need this. Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
from what it looks like, it's just like, no, when we said more Spider-Man, we want to see something different from him. But I guess
Yeah.
the horror angle is what's different. But
right,
yeah.
and people like that. Cool. I'm not one of those people, so
Mhm. So we'll see. All right, let's move on. So next up is Paul Dano is going to be writing a Riddler Year One miniseries. So if you guys don't know, he's the one who played Riddler in this new Batman movie, and I think that's cool. It brings people. Oh, so many people watch that Batman movie say, "I love the Riddler. I'm going to go check this out," and I think that's a great way to get new readers into comics. So I'll check it out. And it also is a story we haven't really seen, like Riddler getting his own miniseries. That's something different. So we'll see. I know you guys haven't seen Batman yet, right? No Batman
No,
for
I have
you guys?
not. Yeah, I
Man.
have not. So we'll see.
All right.
I mean, this might be something that I get maybe just to check out also. I don't know. But
Oh, supposedly the Mad Respect says, did you hear about the horrible Marvel paper quality coming this week? I'd have
isn't
not.
that every week though? I mean,
I know,
it's-
right?
I was about to
I
say
mean-
that's standard for Marvel.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's
there's-
not
there-
worse than usual.
There's always one or two books that are worse than like the others,
Yeah, I wonder if they use multiple printers.
They
I'm
probably
curious about
do,
that as
Brant,
well.
because some of the books aren't as bad.
Yeah.
They haven't been as bad recently.
Right.
also.
They
Like, the
used to
print-
be a few years back. It used to be every
Oh,
single
man.
book. Used to be
Yeah.
really bad. So,
All right, well, let's move on to the next thing, which I was actually surprised by, but also happy by. Seven Secrets is ending
Mhm.
in a couple of months, and after reading the recent issues, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that they're not making it.
it could definitely, like, I figured that it would have a definitive ending because you're carrying around seven secrets and it can only go so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, 18's a good, nice issue to leave off on. It's like a year and a half worth of
Mhm.
content, basically. So, and hopefully they'll leave it open to if they want to explore other stories in that world. That'd be cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like it's right timing.
I like that news. I like hearing endings.
Yeah.
I like hearing things that are planned, and that gives Tom Taylor and Daniele time to do other stuff or do spin-offs. You never know. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is Jane Foster is returning as Thor because, of course, the Thor movie is coming out. So they're like, we need Jane to dress up in this costume. So let's do it. Torrin, I believe it's Torrin who's writing it. Yeah, Torrin, who's been doing the Jane Foster stuff. I love Torrin. Is writing the book. So it's someone who's been on the book before, knows the character. She pretty much wrote all the Valkyrie stuff. And yeah, it looks fun. I'm excited for it. I love Jane Foster stories. I'm all for it.
I'm on
So-
board too.
Yeah, I'm on board. It's like a 5-issue miniseries, right?
Yeah, 5-issue miniseries. It's
Yeah.
so interesting to see like all these female Marvel books are not getting ongoings anymore. They continue to get these miniseries.
I just think we're just in more and more of that mode these days when it comes to comics. It's just you're seeing less and less of the long runs and just more and more of just the stories written for trade, or you get a random writer here and there. If it's not like the major characters, they're not going to get they're not going to get these ongoing books.
It's the model a lot of indie companies take too. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what the market's bearing right now. I think it kind of makes sense, but I
yeah,
understand
no
I understand your frustration that there's not more ongoing women titles.
Female, yeah, that
Female,
it's just
yeah.
interesting who they're picking. It's not like Hulk is getting a 5-issue miniseries. It
Right.
has to be Miss Marvel or Spider Gwen. or Jane
I'm upset
Foster.
that
Yeah.
Spider Woman's ending. Next,
Is it ending? I didn't even know
Is
about
it
that.
ending? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I did it on my most anticipated for next week,
Yeah.
and it's the series finale on issue 21.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks. But also
Yeah,
had
that
such a
does
good
suck.
run. Better and, high than low. I also hope that Carla writes more stuff for Marvel because I really enjoyed her stuff. Spider Gwen is ending. It's a miniseries, of course, is ending.
Yeah,
As Heavy has said.
it's not
They're
even
all
a real,
miniseries.
just the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse
ending.
book.
Yeah, it's just an announcement of that. Yeah, no, that's sad about Spider-Woman, but yeah, I hope we'll get to see more volumes. This was a very, very solid book. If you haven't read Spider-Woman, I think honestly, Jessica's been one of the more consistent characters in the past 5 years for Marvel because her last series was really good as well.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
man. I just every time they come out with a book for her, it's like, oh yes, I love it, and then it's like, oh shit, it's over.
I wonder if they're ending it because of the Secret Invasion stuff that they're eventually going to do at some point.
Good point.
Maybe, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
They might just be doing another issue one.
The
Who knows?
shitty
Maybe.
thing is we never found out the outcome of Porcupine. What's his name?
I think they just left him
Yeah.
be. I think they just didn't want to put him on the board right now. Maybe because of whatever's planned for her.
Sucks
Maybe.
though, man. I would have loved to seen him. Like, I want to see his story. Like, what happens after, you know, the divorce or the, you know, the separation of, you know, does he resent her for it? Does he go back to his old ways? Like, I would love to find out that story.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, that was all the news, but I see we have 50 viewers. I say we do maybe like 10 minutes of Q&A before we go into most anticipated. We ended kind of early.
Yeah, throw out the questions if you have them, guys. And we'd love to hear some more questions. And not some just crazy Peter Parker stuff and stuff that we've already answered before, Tevia.
Yeah, give us something unique.
Yeah, exactly. But we got to talk about the most anticipated, though.
We do. So let's do most anticipated, and then we'll do the Q&A. So this is the gear up the Q&A.
All right. That's cool. So we are talking most anticipated, and I got to get over to that tab because I'm not there. But anyway, all right. So I'll start with my number 3, which is Trial of the Amazons Wonder Girl, just because of Joelle Jones and Yara Flor. You know, that series ended abruptly, and I'm excited to see another issue with them. Rogues, that Black Label story of the Flash Rogues in the future.
Williamson's writing it too, which is
really
cool.
It looked really interesting. Those are characters that I'm always interested in, and this seems like a cool way to tackle those. And then Robin, because he's headed back to Gotham, right? So I've enjoyed that series a lot, and now that we're heading into something that's going to cross over and stuff, I think this is like the precursor to Shadow War. It says it's the issue you can't miss or whatever, so I'm excited for that.
Everything's the precursor to Shadow War.
Of course,
I feel like it's like, when is this starting?
Yeah. So Mike, what are yours?
So we got, for me, I have Gunslinger Spawn issue 6. I've always said that this is a great book. Brett Booth artwork, absolutely gorgeous. Gunslinger is doing battle against the Clown, but he recently teamed up with him. So this is the last issue of the story arc. So we'll see how that story arc ends. Next, you just mentioned it, Brant, Rogues issue 1 from DC Black Label. I didn't even know this was coming out until like a week ago. And when I read it, I was like, hell yeah, I am on this big time. Yeah. So super excited for it. And then my number 1 is Venom Lethal Protector issue 1, getting old school Venom back. So if you don't like new Venom, you get to read old school Venom, and it's done by David Michelini. So that's great stuff right there, man. You can't ask for more classic. So really excited for that.
All right. So for me, number 3 is Miss Marvel Beyond the Limit, issue 4, just because it's Miss Marvel. I'm not saying it's the best book out there for Miss Marvel, but it's fun. It's nice to have her on my pull again, and I think it's better than the previous run. Number 2 for me is Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because everything we talked about, like, what is that going to look like? I was just like, cool. Like, also Cullen Bunn's writing it, so I was like, this is an interesting voice for Power Rangers. I don't know much about Godzilla besides that he's a big lizard, so I'm also excited to kind of get into that franchise. All right, so number 1 for me is Rogues, because of all the things we talked about. It's not Batman. It's Joshua Williamson. Looks intense and gritty, and I'm excited that I'm excited for a DC book that's not Batman. So,
and that's the one book that's on all 3 of ours. So
hopefully it's on our top 5s, which I don't see a reality where it won't be, because I'm only getting 7 books.
Right.
So I know hopefully it's not number 6 or number 7 next week.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see. We actually have some comments here, so keep coming with the questions. First up, I'll answer quickly because I'm the only one who's seen it. has anyone watched Naomi's show on CW? I have. I watched a pilot and it was better than I expected, but I guess not enough to watch the rest. Willie asks, which Marvel movie are you most excited to see this year?
Doctor Strange.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Part 1, or Across the Spider-Verse, whatever it's called. That's the one.
Is that this year? I thought it was next year. I don't
remember which
October.
ones are coming out this year.
It's like a week after my birthday, so I'm stoked for it. Yeah, it's a good birthday present.
I'm still gonna I am looking forward to that movie, but I am interested in a Marvel movie that's gonna like really start to affect the Marvel universe. And
I'm excited for Thor in that regard. I'm excited to see Jane Foster. That's also coming out this year.
Yeah,
the Thunder God.
Yeah, of those, I think Doctor Strange for me as well.
Nice. All right, I think I saw a DC version of that. Yeah. So, which DC movies are you most excited for? Shazam comes out this. I think Black Adam, Shazam, Flash. There's the Super Pets movie coming out.
The Super Pets movie looked pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm honestly most excited for Super Pets and Shazam. I'll give it to Shazam.
I'm excited for Black Adam though. I kind of am. I would love to see that movie actually.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Not so much the Flash. You can pick any of the others.
It's hard, man, to get hype about a DC movie because you're not sure if they're going to just hit that mark or not, you know?
Yeah, right. Especially a new one. Like Shazam, it's easy to say because like, oh, I like the first Shazam. But for Black Adam, it's just going to be a whole new thing. All right.
Yeah,
next up is it is The Rock, which also Super Pets is The Rock. So I'm just saying I'm more excited for The Rock Super Pets than for Black Adam. The Mad Respect says, do you find it hard to narrow down your new buys? I seem to add at least one title every once a week. No, I feel like I know what I like. You know, like once I go to the store, I have my list and I'm like, I usually don't go away from it unless like Mike or Brant's like, go check out this book. Like it's really different. And most of the time it's like an indie book.
I read too much stuff. So I'm not the best gauge.
I don't quite read as much as Brant does, but yeah. I read quite a bit. It's tough. Like it's hard for me to drop a book when it's a character that I like.
Mm.
And I'm hoping that it gets better, but it doesn't. So a perfect example of that would be like, say Donny Cates is writing Thor and I wasn't really into it.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's make it even better. Venom right now. Venom is one of my favorite characters, right? And Donny Cates' run on Venom was really good. But the run that's going on that Al Ewing and Ram V are doing, it's not nearly as good. And this is a book that I really want to like, and I can't get into it. And I'm like thinking in my back of my head, do I drop this book or do I keep going and seeing if it gets better? So that's a perfect example of me having a tough time trying to drop a certain book because I really enjoy the Venom character. And even though it's bad, it's like I want to follow what's going on with him.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a really good example.
Yeah. I think the problem with me is like with new books, especially books not Marvel and DC, it's like I want to try stuff. I want to give stuff a chance. And, you know, we've gotten some really good books like that with Radiant Black, Shade, etc. But I think that's like where I have to be choosy, you know, because you got to really weigh against like those books you're talking about, Mike, that, okay, these are characters I love versus, okay, this is something I've never heard of, but it looks really cool. The art's nice. So that's where my indecision comes from.
But it also has to do with, I think, for me, for indie book is a description or a writer. Like if, let's say Ryan Parrott's on it, I'll 100% give first issue a try. If the description sounds interesting, I'll buy it. But most of the time, I'm very picky when it comes to that. But I think a good example for all of us maybe is Captain Marvel, like a book that started out really good. And then it's like slowly is like, oh, should I pick this up anymore? It's like I feel like it's more of a habit that I'm picking it up than I'm actually enjoying it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Captain Marvel, I don't have as much like tough time dropping because I'm not as attached to that character.
But you've read 40 issues of it.
But
so
it will take me. It would take me a longer time to drop off of it because I invested so much time into it, like you said. but eventually I will drop off of it. And I did, like Captain, like the most recent run. Like I eventually did stop reading it.
Yeah. In that specific case, it's like I really like that writer, and I like other stuff that they write. So it's I want to stick it through because it's like, oh well, surely it's going to get better, you know. So
Here's
Another
a question.
Oh, go for it. Which one?
This one I want to catch on the bottom here. Architectural foam panels and columns says, okay, how about John Romita Jr.? Great artist or great artist? Greatest artist.
Ooh, none.
I think
none for me.
in his early days,
I plead the fifth.
I think in his early days, I think his art was really good. And he changed his art style. In his, he makes his characters very boxy. I noticed it a lot in his Iron Man run when he did Iron Man back in the day. He started really doing that more. And then it just got progressively worse. And certain books, I feel like his art works, like more indie titles. But when he went to DC and did a lot of stuff, it just didn't work, unfortunately. And now he's getting ready to go on Spider-Man, at least certain issues of Spider-Man. And there's just certain characters the man can't draw right, So not trying to knock him, but it's just not my style.
Yeah, if you're looking for a fan club for him, you're on the wrong podcast. Unfortunately,
wrong channel here. We have a question from Sweet Exis. Has anyone watched the newest DC animated films? No, I really have dropped off of them. I have not enjoyed one in years, so I'm just like,
I have not
wasting my time.
Yeah, I haven't watched one either. I'm really bad about watching animated films. Honestly, it's been so long. I think the last one I watched was Flashpoint, which was actually good. I actually liked it.
It was one of the better ones. Honestly, since then, I like the ending of their little universe. I forget. It was one of the Just League Darks. I thought that was actually pretty good. I had to watch it for work, and I was like, oh, that was not bad. But I've not loved one in a very long time. So I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Unless they like do a Batgirl movie. I don't see myself watching any of those.
I don't remember the last one I watched. It might have been the Teen Titans one, the Deathstroke thing. I don't remember the.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a while ago too.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just
the
Teen Titans United or something.
Yeah,
Judas.
Yeah,
Judas Contract.
Judas Contract.
Yeah.
I think that might have been the last one. Yeah.
We got the bronze page. How would you guys rate the best superhero movies of the last 15 years? Avengers, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Dark Knight. I don't love Winter Soldier. People love it. I don't.
I love it.
I love Dark Knight out of all those, and I like Avengers because it started it all. But I enjoy Iron Man more than that.
I just like the MCU in general.
Yeah,
what they did, what they pulled off, was something that I would have never thought I would see on screen. Period. Not like that. That was pretty phenomenal what they did. Like that build up with all the characters, having them all come together just to make this one epic adventure, the Infinity Stones, like that whole thing, just a lead up to it. I mean, look how big and gigantic it was, I mean, it's amazing. It's just something that will never be forgotten. I don't think it ranks up there with when Star Wars first came out and shit like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, just the scope of it alone is just awe-inspiring. But yeah, Dark Knight, I love, and of course, Avengers holds a special place in my heart. So
we also have Slurps Gaming asks, do you think there'll be a She-Spawn book? So as for Mike,
I don't know. I don't think there needs to be. I think we have enough Spawn titles at this point. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, being that we have all these other characters that are out there in the Spawn universe. But she would be cool to have one, though. I mean, I would like her to have one, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Foam Panels has some fighting words. Best superhero movie. Isn't that an oxymoron? Man, oh man. That's some fighting words right there. The other comment here is from Sweet Exis. Next animated one is based on Super Sons. That's not selling us on anything. Maybe Brant, but it's not
I
selling me on
mean,
anything.
it'll be fun, but it's not going to be anything I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see it. You know?
Right, exactly.
Let's see. We got a super chat. Yeah. So this is Supreme Omega on Miss Marvel. Would you like to see a story where Kamala tries to set up a date between Viv and Zoe? We all know she's a huge shipper. Oh, I would love that. That'd actually be really fun.
Be
I
totally
love
in
that.
character too, I think.
Yeah, I'd really like to see that.
Yeah.
So, do you dress up on Halloween? I'm very bad at it. No. I dressed up as bisexual Superman last year though, because I was at a convention. So I was like, that's fun. So I just put the Superman glasses and I put a little bisexual sticker on. I was bisexual Superman.
I think the last time I dressed up for Halloween was for my little cousin's school haunted house, and I was Dracula. That was like many years ago. Because she's got kids of her own now.
So. I'll dress up and hang out at the front of the house, and I'll dress up as like Robin or Superman or something like that.
There you go. That's your answers for Halloween. Parker Lux says, do you guys see the Spawn anime series by any chance?
I never watched it. I heard it was good though.
It was on HBO, right? I think I may have seen an episode, but that's about it.
I think it's on HBO Max now. I think you can go back and watch it.
I have not seen it, but that's all the questions, guys. And I know we're getting to the mark where we should leave, but thank you guys so much for watching without a title or even a thumbnail. So that was cool. We'll get a title and thumbnail after, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Yeah. So, of course, guys, next week we'll be back for another episode. And of course, guys, if you liked this stream, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications when this thing goes live, whether it's on Comic Book Corner 2.0 and Comic Book Weekly. Of course, guys, you can follow us on the social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, of course, YouTube. Guys, make sure you follow or subscribe to Comic Book Weekly, because not only can you watch this episode, but you can watch all the episodes of us, and you can just go down some deep conversation that we've had in the past. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, guys, happy New Comic Book Day in a couple of minutes here, or now officially, right? Officially, it's New Comic Book Day. So enjoy your comic books, guys, today, and we'll talk about them again next week. So here's the wave. I'll see you guys soon. We'll see you soon. Good night, everyone.